Hi everyone, I'm here re-recording the content that we had in our Zoom webinar today because I didn't have it recording. So I'm recording it for you now, and I hope that this information helps any of you who are trying to complete the SBA Disaster Loan application. As you guys know, as of the time of this video being made, the stimulus package was approved last night. We really don't truly know what that means for you as an individual business owner right now, but for our purposes, we're still going to go through the SBA loan application, as SBA is still encouraging you to do the application online at this time. So my name's Jessie. I'm the director of the Missouri Women's Business Center. If you've never heard of the Women's Business Centers before today, we're part of a network across the United States of women's business centers. The Missouri Women's Business Center is hosted by Central Missouri Community Action. We're also affiliated with the Small Business Development Centers, and that we're both SBA resource partners. So you can visit a women's business center or a small business development center in your area for free assistance with things like filling out this application or things like starting or growing a small business. So even when we're not in crisis mode, we're still in your communities helping you to start and grow your businesses. So later on in the presentation, I'll give you some contact information of how to get a hold of your local resource partners. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and start the presentation and walk through some different things for you today, and hopefully that helps you get through the next month or two with your business. So here we go. So what we talked about first today is what to do first before you apply for any loans. We're going to talk about what you need for financing, and we're going to talk about alternative access to capital for those people who might not qualify for the SBA loan or just have other needs that don't work with the SBA loan. So, and then of course we will have some frequently asked questions throughout the training today, and you're more than welcome to email me any other questions after you've watched this video. So first of all, before you begin, try not to panic. I know that everybody is frustrated and confused, and I'm on the phone all day, every day with clients who don't know where to turn. I feel you, and we're working as hard as we can to make sure that you have the latest information and know what's best for your business. So part of that is step 2 of this, which is talk to your bank. Before you apply for any other loans, it's really imperative that you do talk to your banker at wherever your commercial accounts are for your business. I really want you to take a hard look at your financial situation and say, can I survive my business without taking on any additional debt? That's the ideal situation. It might mean that you still have to lay off employees at this time, but can you keep your business afloat without taking any more debt on to get past this hump? So that's a conversation that I want you to have with your banker or a resource partner before committing to any loan products. Also, your local lender has other options that aren't listed in this presentation today. I've spent a lot of time communicating with my local bank partners about the different products that they're offering right now in terms of lines of credit and other things that can get you through a short-term delay in businesses. So again, just make sure you talk to your banker or reach out to myself or one of the other resource partners for help with those type of conversations. So you can see the list of resource partners that I've put here. There are the small business development centers, the women's business centers, your local economic development agency can put you in contact with different people, and then every community typically has some type of other entity that's helping the entrepreneurship ecosystem connect with resources at this time. You can also visit the link that's in the presentation of how to find the local SBDCs or women's business centers in your area. So here's documentation that you're absolutely going to need no matter what type of product you're trying to apply for. You're obviously going to need your legal business name and your tax ID. That's also known as your EIN. You're going to need to know your mortgage information on any properties that you own personally or with your business. You're going to need a list of your personal assets, including your cash on hand, any type of investments you've got, life insurance, all that type of stuff that you would typically need for any type of loan application. You're going to need a list of all your personal debts, and you're going to need a list of all your business debts. And we'll go into that in more detail later in this presentation. You're also going to need your most recent business financials. So that's going to be your profit and loss statement, your balance sheet, things like that. Don't panic if you don't have those, but we will need to have a conversation about working with your bookkeeper or a resource partner to make sure that you are able to put together those documents for your loan package. Well, first, I wanted to talk about a few alternative lending platforms because not everybody is going to be able to access funds through the Small Business Administration. So the first one I wanted to talk to you about today is called Kiva. Kiva's actually been around for a while. It's a kind of a crowdfunding type of platform. What's interesting about Kiva is their microloans, but they're 0% interest, and they also are not credit-based. So these are loans for people who might be credit challenged a little bit, or just need less than $15,000 and want to have a non-traditional loan product. How this works is instead of credit, they use like a social capital type of platform. So you will work with your network or your resource partners or your family or your friends to create a small kind of social capital campaign, and I can explain that more off of this call because it's not relevant to what we're doing today, but this is an option, and I would love it if you called me to talk specifically about this because we at the Women's Business Center are a trustee at Kiva, and we can help you expedite your packages to receive those type of funds. So definitely check it out, kiva.org. If you want more information, contact me, and you can view the contact information there in the slides. Justine Peterson is also another great microloan option for those who might be credit challenged. I'm not sure of the maximum amount on those loans. I know it's less than $20,000, but this is a great short-term solution to getting you through the next couple months with a microloan through Justine Peterson. So again, check out their website, and this might be a great option for you if you are not able to apply for the SBA loan. AllCAP I put in here, they are Kansas City based and only serve Kansas City and within about an hour radius of there, but I put it in here because no matter where you're watching this from, there's likely a similar product available in your community or in your the closest large city of these nonprofits that provide microloans to the immediate community. And all of these entities are really scaling up right now to help local communities get through these couple months where we're having business interruption. So definitely check out AllCAP if you're in the Kansas City area. Otherwise, definitely connect with your resource partners or your bankers on other types of entities like this who do microloans in your area. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and get started on talking about the SBA Disaster Loan application. So first of all, I want to make sure that when you are applying for this loan, that you're going to the website listed at the top of this slide. Whenever we have any type of disaster or really any loan product out there, there will be some type of scam type of websites that pop up that will try to redirect you to apply through them for a fee. There's no fee to apply for this loan. You should not pay anyone to help you apply for this loan. So make sure that you're on the right website as you get started. And when you're ready to get started, you just hit apply online. But let's talk a little bit about the terms and criteria needed for the SBA loan. Okay, so first of all, the loan basics. This loan is credit-based. As of the time of recording this webinar, the odds were high that you were going to get denied, whether for an incomplete loan package or for your credit rating. At this time, we don't know what the minimum credit score is that SBA is accepting. They're not publishing that because it's changing, and they are trying to be more flexible with your credit. So even if you are worried about your credit for this loan, they're still encouraging you to apply since there's no cost and things are going to change. So at this time, it is a credit-based loan. They're also going to investigate your ability to repay this loan. So through the process of the application, they're going to test, what you can do to repay and make sure that you have the ability to do so in accordance with how much money you do borrow. And then eligibility. At this time, all 50 states are eligible for this loan. So in this particular case, you don't need to worry about your eligibility because all states are eligible right now. So terms of the loan. These loans, you can borrow up to $2 million. The rate for them right now is 3.75% for small businesses, and you can get up to a 30-year loan. Eligibility for these are based on the size of your business. If you have more than 500 employees, you are going to be looking at a different loan product. So this particular product that we're talking about today, which is the SBA Disaster Loan, is only for those with 500 or less employees. There'll be more information for the larger employers. I would definitely contact your local SBA office or check out the stimulus stuff they're putting out today for the larger businesses as well. Here's a crucial part of this slide. You cannot, they're not going to lend you funds that would have normally been profit, okay? So like I had an example of a client yesterday that called me and said that April and May are her typical largest months, her largest, most profitable months. And unfortunately, they're not going to lend you those profits. They're going to lend you the money to keep your doors open and to pay your expenses and your payroll for this time period. So I don't want anyone to be misinformed that they're going to get the equivalent of what they normally would have profited in this time period. So let's keep going. So now you're back on the main page, right? Let's get started here. You're going to hit apply online. It's going to take you to a registration page where you're going to put in all the basic things that you would register on any type of registration page. So I don't have that into the slides. Once you're registered though, you're going to come up onto this, this page. Now you can see I started an application to work through the process so I would be better able to educate all of you on this process. So if you have started an application or once you do start one and you log in and out, you'll see it here. This is where you would access that. If you haven't started one, you would just simply click apply online and that's going to take you into the application. So first of all, you will pick businesses and nonprofits as your loan type selection. The one on the right is specifically for disasters such as tornadoes and whatnot. It's the same application, and there are active disaster loans out there for areas that have been hit by flooding and tornadoes. So that's what that's for. Make sure that if you're applying for the disaster loan for the economic issues we're experiencing, that you're choosing businesses and nonprofits here. Next, you're going to choose what type of business you are. For the purpose of this video, I am working through an LLC application because that is the vast majority of the clients we serve at the Women's Business Centers. They hold an LLC. If you are something different here, your application will be slightly different. So most of it will likely be the same, but there may be some changes. So if you're a sole proprietor, for example, or a corporation, you're going to have a different application. But for our purposes today, we're working through an LLC. You're also going to want to make sure to check the box that says economic injury. Don't check anything else, and you can see they've got the banner there to make sure you do that. Once you're to the next stage, you're going to pick your state and your county. And when you do that, and this is the county where your business is registered, when you do that, it will be offered this list of the different types of disasters that are going on in your area. For our purposes, we're going to be all selecting the coronavirus as our selection. You might have noticed there on the last slide, I will go back, that the disaster date is January 31st, 2020. That will be relevant later in the application. Just to note that, yeah, January 31st, 2020 is what we'll be putting in later in our application as the disaster date. Once you get through that process, now you're into the application portal. And so each section you have to complete before you can move on to the next section. That's important to know for the first two sections, as those are really the bulk of the information. You do have the ability to save and come back, but I really stress making sure you save as often as possible. It will kick you out, and if you haven't saved your work, it won't still be there. So the system, you know, there's millions and millions of people right now trying to access this system. You have to be patient. I really suggest you getting on either later in the day. I got on at 5 a.m. this morning and the website was lightning fast. So if you're an early bird, you can certainly get on and work on it then, and you'll have a lot more success. So with that, we're going to go ahead and walk through each section of the application to make sure you know exactly what you're supposed to be putting in. So let's go ahead. Okay, so for question 1, you're gonna absolutely choose economic injury if it's not already selected, and then on number 2, you'll select what type of business you are. It should already be filled in based on your earlier selections. On number 3, it's vital that you put in your business name, not your name as an individual, but your business name. So whatever your LLC is registered with your state, that is what you put there. In question 4, you put your tax ID. Question 5 is not required, but if you are operating your business under a different name than your legal name, you would put that there. So for example, if my LLC was called McDonald's and then I was operating a different business underneath that name, you would put the trade name underneath there, if that makes sense. You'll also put your business phone number. So then on number 7, you're going to put your mailing address, whether you're home or your business. I would suggest home at this time, as that's where most of us are. So go ahead and put that in there. On number 8, this one's a little confusing to people. This is not relevant really to the coronavirus disaster, but more towards those other type of disasters we talked about. It's still a required question, so you want to make sure to put in what type of property your business is, whether it is an owned or leased property. If your business is located at your home, make sure you put in that information instead, and then choose if you own or lease, aka rent, your home. So then you can also see underneath that, it asks about insurance. Now, if you do have business interruption insurance, you would choose that there. There is a selection under coverage type for business interruption. The vast majority of people won't have that, so you can just leave these blank if you don't. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move on down the application. So for number 9, I would go ahead and put your name and contact information for both of these selections, because this is who you want the SBA to call you, or who you want the SBA to call if they have questions about the application, any type of loss verification and whatnot. So make sure you put in most likely yourself or someone that works at your company here of who you want SBA to contact. You're going to notice that at no time in this application do they ever ask you how much money that you want. And that's going to come up later as well, because that's not how it's being determined. They're not asking you how much you want or what you need. They're going to look at all your financials, your tax returns and all that, and assess a number for you. So as you move down here and you go to number 13, which is date business established, you're going to put the date that your business started. Now, number 14 is a little confusing as well. What this means is it's typically going to be you, right? So it's going to be the same date, what your current management is. So for most people, whatever date you put in, date business established will be into the same blank as current management since. However, there's going to be situations that that's not. Maybe you bought the business from a partner. Maybe it was a family business that your dad started 20 years ago, but you've run it for the last 10. That's where you would put the 2 different numbers. You can put the number of employees in here. We've had a lot of questions about, do you count yourself as an employee? I would say yes at this time. And part-time employees, I would say do a 0.5. So if you've got 2 employees and a part-timer, I would say 2.5 employees. Now, number 16, this is a one where everybody is really messing up. It is asking you if your business owns 50% or more of another business. So if this is not you as an individual, it's asking, do you as a business, does your business own 50% or more of another business? So for the vast majority of people, the answer here is no. If you click yes, it's going to cause you problems down the line in the application. So make sure you hit no and move on. All right, so on number 17, now we're talking about you as an individual and not your business. So here, you're going to want to put your name, what percentage of the business you own, your social security number, everything that's starred. One question that we're having a lot, and I don't have a good answer for, is what about married couples? As far as this form and the application, it doesn't have a good way to designate that 2 owners are a married couple, so you just continue to fill it in as if you're not married. And we'll talk more about that when we get to the assets and debts part of this application. So you can see the last part of question 17 is, in addition to this business, do you own 50% or more of another business? And there's quite a few people who do. So if you own 50% or more of another business on top of the business that we're already talking about, you would hit yes here, and it's going to pop up and ask you some more questions. Then if you have a business partner, such as a spouse or someone who is legally a partner in your business, then you would click add another individual owner and fill out that same information for them. Lastly, on this page, it's asking if another business has an ownership stake in your business. For most people, that's going to be no. So in that case, you would select no business entity owner. But if they if there is a business ownership of your business, you would click, there would be more content here, and you would fill that out. But as soon as you click no business entity owner, it takes all that out of there for you. So let's move on. Okay, so for question 18, right here, you want to answer everything as accurately as possible. When you say yes to any of these questions, a text box will pop up like you see on question D here to provide more information. So for the first question is about if you've ever had a bankruptcy. So what I would say here is if you've had a bankruptcy in the last 10 years, or you still have a bankruptcy on your credit report, then I would click yes here. If it has fallen off of your report completely, it's been more than 10 years, I would hit no. But for the most part, if you've had a bankruptcy in the last 10 years, go ahead and hit yes there. It will pop up a box, and then you can explain the terms of that bankruptcy. Same for all of these other questions. Don't forget to mark if you've ever had a federal student loan. Of course, most of us don't know our account numbers of our student loan. I would just write federal student loan. If you make it into the next stage of this application or process, then that investigator will talk to you about if he needs the account number for your student loan. And then lastly, on question 19, it's just asking if you're involved in any ongoing criminal investigations, anything like that. So make sure you read that completely and answer it as honestly as possible. 21 is an interesting question. It's just if anyone's helping you put together this application. So it's not a required piece, but if anybody like a Women's Business Center or an SBDC helps you put this together, certainly put their name in and that they helped you put it together. And you would, of course, read all the agreements and certifications and hit next. This page that's going to pop up, this just refers back to that question where it had the things about student loans and bankruptcies. It's just giving you more opportunity to put in some more text if you would like. If you remember back on the first page, that question about if your business owns another business, if you accidentally hit yes there, this is where you're going to be like, what is this page? Because it's going to ask you questions about that. So if you are seeing something different than what I'm providing after this, then you've hit the wrong button and you'll need to go back and change that. Okay, so you've done the initial application. At this point, you can see now mine is completely done because I've gone through the whole process, but you would be moving on to the next stage, which is the personal financial statement. So you would hit update there. This is where it's going to start asking you about your income and other debts and things like that. Now, this is where it gets really complicated if you're a married couple. It doesn't have any way to allocate that this is a married partnership because you both are going to have to fill it in if you indicated that both of you are an owner of this business. So you're going to want to go ahead and put in your salary, any income you're getting from real estate, like rental properties, and then other income. That blank will be a total amount of all of the things below. So if you're including disability, Social Security, take that total amount for the whole year and put it in the other income blank. All of these blanks should be based on the annual amount and not monthly. The next page, you're going to be putting any real estate you own, like your house. Now, it's important to note at this point that with this particular loan product, they're not going to use your home or real estate as collateral. They're only looking at business assets. So while this is here, it's not as important as if it was going to be based on collateral. I think it's important that you do go ahead and put the amount of your mortgage and things like that that are financial considerations. If you don't own any property, just hit I do not own any real estate and move along. The next page is going to ask you about your personal assets. So that's going to be money that you're holding in the bank, savings accounts, the value of your automobiles. Again, these are going to be estimates. They're not going to need you to go get your car assessed of value. A good way to look at it is to look at the assessor from last year in your county and see what they put in there. But you're going to put in anything that is an asset of you personally, about your life insurance and all of this stuff. So this is definitely the most difficult part of the application, is compiling this information as clearly as possible that you can make it for the investigator to look at your file. So do the best you can here. Work with your financial planner or your accountant to put in the correct information and move along. Same thing with debts. Here you're going to be putting in any credit cards that you owe to. So like say you have a Chase credit card, you would put it in that top blank and put Chase and what the balance is of your card and what the payment amount is. So any debts that you own personally, you would be putting into this form. So at that point, you're done with the personal financial statement. And the good news is after that, it gets fairly easy and you're going to move through the application much quicker. So for schedule of liabilities, that's going to be your next section. So you'll go ahead and hit that. So what you're going to do here is put in any debts held by your business. So if your business LLC holds any credit cards or has a small business loan or has a line of credit that it has a balance on it, that's where you're going to be putting all of this stuff in. So if you don't have any of that and your business is debt-free, you would click the I have no debts section there, and it will allow you to continue. Okay, so now we're getting into the request for tax returns for the transcripts. So this is just going to be an authorization form allowing SBA to request your tax return forms from the IRS. So what you'll be doing here is you will be, oops, actually, nope, let's go back. There is a form before that. So next you're going to be doing the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Supporting Information form. And so let me show you that. So you have the option here to download it and you'll fill it out and then you will upload it back onto the computer. You can either e-sign it or if you can print it out and fill it out but you don't have a scanner, I've been encouraging people to take a picture of it and upload it that way. If you're unable to attach it here, you can use the alternative document delivery options by emailing the SBA's customer service. However, I would highly encourage you, and so does SBA, to try as hard as possible to get everything into the electronic application to make it easier for you to get through to talk to a loan officer, because it's very difficult and they're very, very backed up right now. So the more you can do to have a complete loan package, the more it's going to help you and it's going to help them. This is what the form looks like that it's asking for. It's going to ask you if you were operational a year prior to the disaster, what your gross revenues and cost of goods sold were for the previous year. If you're having trouble understanding that, then make sure you reach out to whoever helps you with your books. Check out your financial statements, because that information should be on there. A resource partner could also help you understand, looking at last year's books, what you need to put in here. There's also a section about any compensation that you're receiving from other people. So if your community has offered any type of local grants that you've received, at this point I know people aren't really receiving any money yet, but as you are doing these applications later, you may have. So you want to make sure that you're disclosing that here, that you've received any other type of funds for the disaster. And then you'll sign and you'll upload it where we were just looking at. Okay, so now we are going to do the tax return transcript request. So all this is doing is allowing SBA to contact the IRS on your behalf and get your tax transcript. So you can see here, you'll just fill all this out. You will attest to that you are allowing them to sign that. Oh, a question you might have is under the title section. What is my title? If you're an LLC, you're most likely a managing member, and you can see here the options that you have here regarding what your title is. And so, like I said, most of you will be the managing member of your LLC. So then there's going to be another form for you to sign, or again, you have the option to say, I agree to deliver this completed document to the SBA. They want you to, as much as possible, upload it in here and not choose that option. Okay, so the next section is the most recent federal income tax returns for your business. This is still a required section. However, at this time, they're not requiring these for the approval of the loan. So you're going to have to upload something, else it's not going to let you submit the application. If you have your federal tax returns for your business for 2019 or 2018, absolutely include them here. If not, I would upload your profit and loss statement from last year, or as most recent as you can, to at least upload something so that you can submit your application. All right, so at this point, you're almost done. Now, all you have left to do is to agree that you have provided as much truthful information as you can on here, that you are agreeing that everything is true and accurate to the best of your knowledge, and so you'll certify and move on. Once you have all that completed, you are going to be ready to submit your application. You can hit the preview button to look at the full loan package, check it over for any errors, and then you can submit the application. And you can see the information at the bottom regarding the things that you may need to submit, including your profit and loss statements and things like that. So make sure you have those things ready, because as you move forward, you're going to be getting contacted for those documents. And again, if you are immediately denied by this process because of credit, don't panic. Reach out to your resource partners, and your application will be good for 6 months, so we can continue to work through the process if you're initially denied. And so just don't panic, and make sure you contact either the SBA, or I would suggest a resource partner, as we are a little more available right now than the SBA is, to help you understand what happened and how to fix it. That's the basics of the application. I am happy to provide this PowerPoint to you, as well as I have a written step-by-step guide. And I highly encourage you, if you have questions, to reach out to me or post them in the comments below, because if you have a question, I guarantee somebody else does. So put your questions onto the Facebook post where I'm going to post this video, and we will answer as much as possible. Again, everything is changing. I know you're frustrated. Hang in there. We're going to do everything we can to make sure every business gets the help they need. And when this is all over, we can't wait to work with you on an ongoing basis to continue to grow your business. So thank you for watching this webinar. Thanks to everyone who attended the Zoom earlier that didn't record, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.